fighting for the values that make Nebraska the good life. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Well, it's the question that everybody wants to know the answer to. Did Wyatt get caked? That's the question. So Wyatt, now you have to fess up. Did you get caked by Steve Aoki?
I did not.
Wyatt, that was everybody was like, all right, get caked. Let's find out what the flavor is.
Hey, I got to see the cakes backstage. That's as close as I got to them.
So how was the concert compared to Shaq?
It was good. It was a great concert. Both nights, I should say, too.
What, was he better than the big man, or?
You know, the great thing about music, it's all about opinion. Personally, I thought he was good. Everyone can say, oh, he's better than him, blah, blah, blah. I thought it was a good show. That's all I cared about.
All right,
so I'm not complaining.
You're being neutral. I appreciate that. Now, you've got to show yourself tonight.
I am.
DJ Wyatt, I'm learning. DJ Wyatt.
I'm playing at college night at the Royal Grove tonight.
All right. Get out there and do a little jigging with DJ Wyatt. All right, we're going to do this early in the show because we've got a big show lined up. We'll talk about who's going to be on here in just a minute. But we are going to start playing Fantasy Huskers right now. Your chance to put your name in the hat to win some great prizes from Valentino's and the best of Big Red. Today's keyword is cheer. So you guys that are tuning in early, you get an earlier chance today to win. Cheer. Just text in CHEER to 402-479-1400 for your chance to win. And we'll see who wins here in just a little bit. Speaking of the Huskers, we've got a bye week this week, so no football. But we do have Husker volleyball, and that's tonight against Purdue. Pregame's at 6:30, and the first serve will start at 7:30, and you can hear that all right here on KLIN after Drive Time Nebraska. Again, we have a full show lineup for today as we kick off the weekend. Joining us later on in the show is Senator Deb Fischer to talk about her campaign, her work for Nebraska. But I'm going to be asking her about these ads. I want to know the truth about some of these things. So we're going to talk to her about some of the issues that Dan Osborn is throwing at her and vice versa. So we'll get some clarification there. Plus, we're going to hear about an opportunity for you to attend a night with Lincoln's own, the Voice Finalist Bryan Olesen. Matt Schulte will be on in just a minute to give us details about that. If you've got questions or comments for Senator Fischer, all you have to do is call or text him in the Hunt Irrigation Talk and Text line, 402-479-1400. All right, coming up on Drive Time Nebraska on Monday, we'll have Congressman Mike Flood, Talk and Text Tuesday. Wednesday, County Commissioner candidate David Russell will be in. And then on Thursday, District 21 legislative candidate Don Lippert will be in. And then on Friday, no show because, again, Husker volleyball. So let's take a quick break here and we'll come back. We'll find out how you can enjoy a fun evening with the Voice Finalist Bryan Olesen on Tuesday, October 22nd. And remember, there's still time to play Fantasy Huskers right now. Text in the word cheer to 402-479-1400, and then we'll pick a winner. All right. Thanks so much for listening to Drive Time Nebraska. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
From the skies to the streets, get the latest weather and traffic.
Always accurate coverage.
1499.3 KLIN.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bosin. Education is a cornerstone for strong, vibrant communities. I voted for the largest investment in education in Nebraska history. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and understand the valuable role of education in growing our community. This is Carolyn Bosin, and I will continue to support education in the legislature. Vote Carolyn Bosin on November 5th, paid for by Bosin for Legislature.
If you've inherited valuables from past loved ones and don't have a clue what to do with them, Lincoln Coin and Bullion is the place to go. Our team will tell you more about your collectible coins, gold, and silver, and give you an appraisal of their worth. When you're ready to sell, we will provide transparent, line-by-line, item-specific offers so you can make the best decision. We operate by appointment only for your privacy and your security. Nebraska's largest coin, currency, and bullion dealer, Lincoln Coin and Bullion, where transparency is the standard.
Ready to hit the road in style? Liberty First Credit Union is revving up your ride with unbeatable auto loan specials. cruise away with rates as low as 4.79% APR for 48 months on a 2020 or newer vehicle. Need a longer term? No worries. They've got you covered with 4.89 APR for 60 months and 4.99 APR for 72 months. Hurry, these rates are cruising fast, so don't get left in the dust. Visit LibertyFirstCU.com. Credit factors apply. Rates, terms, and conditions subject to change.
There's something to be said for American-made, but at Monolith, we're helping create Nebraska-made. From here in Nebraska, we're producing low-emission carbon black for tires across North America. Soon we'll be providing farmers with locally made fertilizer to reduce our reliance on foreign imports. We're investing hundreds of millions in our multiple Nebraska facilities and employing Nebraskans in high-paying jobs that support families and communities. Monolith, Nebraska-made.
This is Tom Osborn. Recently, there's been a little confusion as one of the Senate candidates and I share the same last name. I've never met that candidate and know little about him, but I do know Deb Fischer. I believe that she's served Nebraska well in the Senate. She works hard, travels the state extensively. Her 12 years of service have given her seniority and influence. This gives her a much greater ability to serve the people of Nebraska.
Coach Tom Osborn is right. Deb Fischer brings big wins for Nebraska. Deb fought to build new veterans' health facilities here in our state. She's protecting our farmland from being purchased by China. And Deb wrote the law to make our neighborhoods safer by making it easier to recruit and retain police. Join Coach Osborn's team. Deb Fischer for Senate.
I'm Deb Fischer, candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Deb Fischer for U.S. Senate.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Disagree with Doug? The guests? The topic? Call or text 402-479-1400 now to be a part of the show. KLIN weather brought to you by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Partly to mostly cloudy this evening with the temperature dropping into the mid-60s by midnight. After midnight, remaining partly to mostly cloudy with a slight chance of sprinkles. Low temperature in the low 50s. Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy and warm, high in the low 80s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
As we get into the heart of our drive time, 29th and Vine Street looks like it's cleaned up and out of the way. An earlier accident, 29th and Vine Street, westbound primarily. We do have several construction projects and utility projects. We'll want to watch for lane shifts and lane closures. Normal Boulevard running a little slow from 33rd to about 48th Street. East and westbound lane closures for a paving project in that area. Do keep in mind West Old Cheney Road from Southwest 12th to South Folsom. That is closed for a sewer project. If you come across anything that gets in your way, call the traffic hotline 402-47.
Raising the roof on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans. With the occasional net violation. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Here's what I found out during the break. Wyatt did get some cake on his pants and shoes. So you did get a little caked. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. All right. Congratulations to Kristen for texting in and playing in Fantasy Huskers. She has to answer this question now. Which AP Top 25 team will score the most points this weekend? Now her name is in the hat to possibly win $50 to Valentino's and $50 to Best of Big Red. You can tune in on Monday morning for your next chance to win on L&K Today with Jack and Friends. And again, Monday afternoon, right here on Drive Time Nebraska. I want to thank our title sponsor, Lincoln Coin and Bullion, for taking care of us. We appreciate them and all the work that they do in sponsoring the show, which is our list of growing sponsors, which we deeply appreciate. They've been helping me out for well over a decade and helping me purchase my gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. So if you want to buy or you want to sell, they can handle it. They can handle anything from hundreds of dollars to millions of dollars. Just call them up for an appointment, 402-327-2853. You can also go to their website at lincolncoinandbullion.com. Well, yesterday we had a great show with State Senator Carolyn Bosin, and I really appreciate her work in the legislature. We chatted about her priorities, the special session, the sentencing reform task force that she's part of, and so much more. If you missed that, you can check out the podcast at klin.com and on your favorite podcast service. All right. Well, we're honored to on Drive Time Nebraska here to be and to have had a front row seat to Lincoln native and singer Bryan Olesen as he worked his way in the finals of The Voice. He's a dear friend of the show, and we had him on throughout the competition. Now you have an opportunity to see him live in concert on Tuesday, October 22nd, and you can get more information here in just a minute from our friend Matt Schulte. So, Matt, welcome back to Drive Time Nebraska.
Thanks. It's always good to be back with you.
You do a great job. Matt is also a county commissioner as well, and he is the executive director for Youth for Christ. Matt, before we dig into your big event, I want to talk about this because this was great. You had Brooke Fullerton come in, and we talked to her. She's the director of the Parent Life at Youth for Christ, and boy, she's leading in a powerful way, serving pregnant and parenting teens in Lincoln. And the cool part about it is when she talked, we actually had people calling in, offering assistance for what she was needing at the time. Just tell us how Brooke has impacted your organization.
Brooke got hired with us like literally the February before, like the days before that big COVID shutdown. So she's been on staff with us now for coming on 4 years, I guess, almost. And man, if there's anybody who just exudes passion and love for pregnant and parenting teens, it is Brooke Fullerton. Like the billboard says, loves teen parents. It shows Brooke's face on it. She will just go above and beyond to really meet the needs of kids. There was a girl she was working with last year who, as a teenager, had gotten pregnant, was living in an apartment with a guy who was being incredibly abusive. She didn't have her driver's license. All this stuff was going on, and this girl got diagnosed with cancer. And Brooke just got all in, taught the girl how to drive, helped get her a car donated to her, walked through the process with her. She moved out into her own apartment, and all this stuff. And so Brooke is just one of those people that is just filled with passion and love for pregnant and parenting teens like nobody I've ever met. And so we love Brooke. If I could hire 20 Brookes, I would hire them next week.
Well, one of the things that still sticks out in my mind, and we still talk about it behind the scenes here at the show, is the day that she was on when she was talking about the biggest need, especially for the guys who are trying to help the women and their kids, is really having a job that pays well enough for them to take care of themselves. And immediately Summit Lawns called us up and said, hey, we've got jobs. Get her in touch with us and we will help these fellas. And I just was, just the generosity of our listenership, but also I think they responded to Brooke, understanding the power of what she's doing and how important it is.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, jail and prison projections are often one of the early indicators they use for how many bed spaces you need to have in a jail. And prison is how many teen parents there are in your community. So because they know that second generation, that child is much more likely to end up in jail if they're raised by a teen parent all alone on an island by themselves. So hopefully by bringing a community around these kids and their babies, we can change that projection. And we've seen that happen.
Well, that's awesome. And we had Senator Bosin in yesterday, and she was talking about just reform within the prison system, that if they can provide good paying jobs when they get out, the recidivism rate is really, really low, which is great. And I'm assuming it's probably the same for even these teen dads or dads that have come along these women to help out.
Well, just imagine yourself being a teen parent, a mom who is dealing with all the things that moms deal with. How do I get my child to childcare? How do I learn to raise a baby? I would argue that parenting is supposed to be a team sport. It's supposed to be, there's a reason why God created families to have a mother and a father raising a baby. Take that father out of the picture, it gets that much harder. Now throw on top of it the fact that you still need to go to school and take your calculus class and graduate. It's just an incredible load for these teens to carry. And so we are, through Brooke, and teen parent life precedes Brooke even, but Brooke and the people that are involved in these teen parents' lives are just really trying to help lighten that load and make these teens successful.
Well, one of the ways that we can help out and help Brooke to continue to do what she does is through supporting what you're doing at Youth for Christ. Let's talk about this big event you have coming up, a big fundraiser that Bryan Olesen's going to be a part of.
Yeah, so every year we've done a fundraising event at the end of the year. Last year, your listeners may remember, we had Larry the Cable Guy was our performer, and we just had a great night laughing and rolling around with him, and just love his vision and his mission and the life that he lives here in Lincoln. And so the question was, man, who do we follow up Larry the Cable Guy with? And then as we were working that through, then Bryan Olesen hits the voice and starts just killing it, singing these songs and, raising some great awareness for Lincoln, showing his passion and his skill. And I said, I know people that know Bryan. Let's see if we can't get Bryan to come in and be our performer this year. And he right away got a hold of him, and he right away said, absolutely, I'd love to come perform. And so it's going to be kind of a unique event. It's going to be a fun event. He will get the chance to perform some music, and we'll get to sing along with some of those songs for, about an hour. And then we're going to do about 20-minute question and answer. What was it like to be on The Voice? What's it like to record your own albums and see some of them be somewhat successful and some of them not? And, be able to engage with him in a big question and answer thing. And so we're super excited about that. And just the experience it's going to give to people who come out in 11 days on October 22nd.
Well, I hope people get a chance to take this. Of course, I know Bryan personally, and he's just a super guy. And if you get a chance to be able to spend some time around him, you're going to be inspired. You're going to be encouraged by him, and it's going to be a fun night. And so I'm excited for people to attend. Give us some specifics about how people get information. Are there tickets available? How does that work?
Yeah, so we do have tickets available. We're doing it at a church in town, which is just a great venue because they have a stage, they have lights, they have, great seating. Everybody's going to be able to have good visibility and access to the microphone to ask them a question. So we're doing it at Christ Place Church on Tuesday, October 22nd. The event starts at 7 p.m. And if you go to our website, which is yfclincoln.org, right there on the front page, you'll see an opportunity to jump on and grab a ticket to join us for we're calling it our I Believe in Youth fundraiser. So we're looking forward to that. October 22nd, jump on our website, yfclincoln.org, and we'd be glad to. Tickets are only $25. We're just trying to cover the cost of the venue.
Yeah, I want to encourage everybody to go. Matt, if you'll stick around, I'd love to be able to ask you some questions in regards to your facility update and also the races that we really need to be paying attention to here in Lincoln, all right, while we're waiting for Senator Fischer to come on. So we'll take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll dig into those issues. And again, Senator Fischer will be joining us in a few minutes as well. Well, cities from across the state, they're listening to Drive Time Nebraska. We'll be back after this.
You can call if you want to, or my guess you can text. Either way, the number is the same, 402-479-1400 on the Hunt Irrigation talk and text line. Hunt Irrigation, the right choice, the professional choice, the water smart choice.
Have you inherited silver or gold? Lincoln Coin and Bullion will appraise and guide you. Nebraska's largest dealer by appointment only. Call and schedule your private appointment today.
I'm Nate Rohr, and it's time for your Homegrown Huskers Spotlight of the Week, brought to you by Katie Allen Woods Brothers. This week's Homegrown Husker is sophomore kicker Tristan Alvano from Omaha.
Buschini puts it down. Tristan's kick sent in towards the uprights, kind of pulls it inside the upright. It's good, and the Huskers have tied this game at 10. Got that little draw. Starts kind of right at the post, but came inside of about a couple of feet to tie it at 10. So new game here in Lincoln. 3 of 7 on the year. Snap down. Kick sailing towards the uprights, and the kick is good. He got it in there. That's a career long for Tristan Alvano. He's made 3 of his last 4. We're tied now at 3 with 3:11 to go in the period. Currently has the leg strength. Snap down, kick sailing towards the uprights, and the kick is good. He banged it in there. 55 yards out, and the Huskers push the lead to 24-0.
For Homegrown Huskers, I'm Nate Rohr.
Integrity. doing what's right, not what's easy. I'm Katie Allen with Woods Brothers Realty, and my commitment to you is honesty, dependability, and integrity. As a proud Nebraskan and University of Nebraska alum, I know what it takes to win both on the field and in the real estate market. Whether you're finding your dream home or scoring the best deal when selling, I'm here to help you achieve your goals. Text GOAL to 402-347-4646. That's GOAL to 402-347-4646.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. Nebraska families and business owners need lower taxes, more affordable health care, and a great education system. That is why I fought for the largest tax cut in Nebraska history, reduce the cost of healthcare, and help pass the biggest investment in our public schools. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th, paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
It's Vala's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard's 40th year of creating magical memories. Take a ride on the new junior coaster, Tim's Runaway Grain Train. On Stefan's Country Drive, kids are the drivers. Visit the cider mill to enjoy some refreshing apple cider. Taste finger-licking good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. There's so much to see at Vala's with over 50 other attractions included with admission. Vala's is the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Alice Pumpkin Patch best of all.
Carson tonight. It's Johnny Carson's 99th birthday celebration at the Lead Center, October 23rd. Relive the magic and laughter of Johnny Carson's Tonight Show on the anniversary of his 99th birthday. Comedian and host Pat Hazel is joined live on stage by frequent Carson show guests, including master magician Lance Burton, comedian Kathy Ladman, ventriloquist Jay Johnson, and jazz singer Nicole Henry. They're all accompanied by the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Jazz Orchestra. Carson Tonight is October 23rd. Get your tickets at leadcenter.org.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Partly to mostly cloudy this evening with the temperature dropping into the mid-60s by midnight. After midnight, remaining partly to mostly cloudy with a slight chance of sprinkles. Low temperature in the low 50s. Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy and warm, high in the low 80s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
KLIN Time Saver Traffic, delivered by Paisanos, Lincoln's best brick oven pizza.
Wrapping up our traffic reports, we do have a new slow spot, North 27th at Ticonderoga. That's just north of Superior. Southbound lanes, an accident. Do watch for slowdowns. A few volume slowdowns persist, particularly Normal Boulevard from about Garfield to South Street. We do have several construction projects. Do use caution as you move through and around. It is motorcycle and bicycle season. Look once and look again. Keeping you moving with Time Saver Traffic. I'm Chris Lofgren.
Tackling the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans head on. With the occasional targeting call, this is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald, 1499.3 KLIN.
I want to thank Nick for texting in from Summit Lawns. And Matt, just so you know, he said we're still down to help out in any way we can. Employment for sure. So there you go.
Great. That's awesome.
That's right. The magic of what we do here and the awesomeness of our listenership. So the voice you heard there is Executive Director for Youth for Christ and Lancaster County Commissioner Matt Schulte, talking about their big fundraiser featuring the Voice Finalist Bryan Olesen. Matt, I want to get a quick update on your facility. Every time I drive by it, new things are happening, and I'm excited for it. So give us a quick update on where you're at with facility growth.
Sure. So going back to 2000, when Campus Life bought our facility down there on Pine Lake Road, the goal was always to, put a youth center on the property. Currently, there's a house on 10 acres. And a couple of years ago, we embarked on a journey to raise some money to put a youth center there. Kind of the idea being that our house works great for up to 20 kids. But once you get over 20 kids, we don't have the bathrooms, we don't have the space, we don't have any accessibility. And so we set out to build a new youth center there. And it's happening. It's getting done.
It is.
By Thanksgiving, our building will be done. And we're doing a ribbon cutting on December 6th at 4:30 p.m. So everyone's invited to come out to that as well. But December 6th, we're going to do a big ribbon cutting, open up the doors to the new youth center, which includes a gym and a couple classrooms. So we're super excited about the new facility.
Let's talk about, you have a new mental health initiative for teens called Rebalance. Share with us more about how that's helping our teens in the area.
Okay, listen. Anybody who pays attention to any statistics knows that teens are struggling with mental health. Anxiety is through the roof. Social media and phones, you and I have talked about this in the past, Doug, ain't helping. Matter of fact, they're adding to the problems. And the reality is there's not enough psychologists, there's not enough social workers, there's not enough counselors to solve the problem. So we need some community-based programs to help out. So Rebalance is an evidence-based community program that's been happening up in northern Colorado, so not too far from here, in Greeley, Colorado, a community about the same size as ours. They've been doing this mental health program, and it just have shown massive increases in self-awareness and social awareness and self-management for kids. And so we have begun the Nebraska pilot of this program called Rebalance. And it's just been a great way to help kids, teens specifically, overcome some of their mental health. And you might be asking yourself, what does mental health look like for a teenager? Think of it this way. If your kid is struggling with anxiety, they don't really want to get outside, they don't want to be with other people, like those are all like small indicators that they've got mental health challenges. And this program is specifically designed to help them improve their mental health. The way it is, it's a 10-week program. It's on Monday night. It's open to the community. It's open enrollment. You can join anytime. You just have to complete the 10 weeks to graduate. And so if anybody's interested in that, you can go to rebalancenebraska.org, learn more, and potentially help get your grandchild or your child signed up for the program.
Well, it's a great work you're doing with that. I want to turn things to the election while we have just a couple minutes here. And I've been encouraging people, Matt, and I learned this from you because I really started to dig into it over the last couple of years. It's what I'm calling my political trifecta. And this is the key here. These are top key areas that we need to focus on in elections that directly impact our daily lives. City council, school board, county commissioner. Am I off base on that?
100%. Everybody thinks when they think politics, they think the president.
Right.
But if you look at your tax bill, by far, the biggest taxes you pay are to these local entities. And if you think about which government entities impact your life the most, like what government entity do you trust your children to 6 hours a day for 200 days a year for 12 years? Or not 12. Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the school board and the city council and the county board have so much more influence on your life than the president ever will, because it's just so close to us. Your speed limits, your the way jail happens, the way you get charged, whether or not you get charged. I mean, all those with a crime, all those things happen because of local boards, not because the president's a Republican or a Democrat. These local boards are more important to your life than anything else. And so please pay attention and please vote in those elections.
Yeah, it's vital, especially obviously the big topic and issue for the last few months has been property tax. Mm-hmm. And that's directly impacted by all three of those groups.
Can you name a candidate that's been on your radio show that has not said property taxes is the number one issue?
Every single person. I have not met one person yet who says property taxes aren't too high. There's nobody. Yeah. And they're like, we need to do something about it. So let's talk about some of the races. I know you're aware of what's happening. Are there some key races that we really need to be aware of and be paying attention to as we lead up to November?
Well, I'm on the county board. So clearly there's two county board races that are happening here in Lancaster County that are very important to pay attention to. So I really care about those. The state school board races are very important. There's a pretty strong movement right now to get at least one more, I'll say, conservative Republican on that state school board. And if you do, it totally flips the makeup and gets rid of some of the junk, some of the garbage the state school board has been considering and talking about. Just will completely go away. And so state school board race and a county board are the two that are 100% on my radar right now. And then next spring, we got to do city council and local school board. But right now, those two races are very important in my mind.
Yeah. Anything specific, being the county commissioner for you that you guys are working on right now? Something that you're passionate about?
That's a great question. We've had a number of kind of controversial issues come before us recently. We've talked about heliports. We've approved Lancaster County's first ever heliport. So where someone's landing a private helicopter onto their acreage, and it's totally legal. And they've been doing it for a while and had to get in some compliance. And so we approved that recently. So that's pretty fun. Second thing that's a really big deal right now is that, as you know, one of the most controversial departments in the city and county was the health department over the last 5 years, in particular with COVID. And we are right now in the middle of considering a new director for the health department. And I think that creates a unique opportunity for us to redirect the health department for those of us who are very frustrated with the way some of those lockdowns and restrictions happened and continued to happen despite some local indicators. And so I'm really excited about the potential to see some new direction for the health department in Lincoln and Lancaster County as well. So we interviewed a gal yesterday, actually, and she'll come to us for a vote on Tuesday, and then she'll be before the city council Monday, all in the approval process to a new county health department director.
So walk through that then. So it goes through the commissioners first, is that right? And then goes to the council, city council?
Almost. It's some of these shared departments are kind of crazy. So actually the mayor appoints the replacement.
Okay.
Then that person gets approved by the county health board. Then it comes to the county board approval. Then it goes to city council for approval. So imagine being the person whose boss is the mayor, the health board, the county board, and the city council. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's hard to have one boss, period, but to throw 4 bosses and 3 of those bosses have 5 or more members in them. Like it's kind of a crazy setup. Personally, I think we need to get rid of some of these shared departments, but yeah, so it's even more complex than you originally thought.
All right, Matt. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Deb Fischer's on the line right now, so we're going to take a quick break, our final break, and then we'll come back and talk to her. But again, thank you so much for joining us. Get out there, check out Bryan Olesen, yfclincoln.org to get more tickets, get more information. Thanks, Matt.
Have a great night.
All right, you too. All right, we're going to take our final break here, and when we come back, Senator Deb Fischer will be joining us on the phone. So stick around. Thanks so much for listening to your drive home today. We appreciate that so much, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Sign up for the daily at KLIN.com to get today's top local and Husker news sent straight to your email. You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. Sports Nightly is next on 1499.3 KLIN.
Kamala's inflation is damn near costing me everything. But Dan Osborn is siding with them, not us. Osborn supports amnesty for illegal aliens and wants to give our jobs away to foreign workers. He'll give them our Social Security, too. Dan Osborn, same old Democrat BS, just a different D.C. puppet.
I'm Deb Fischer. I'm running for Senate, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Fisher Victory Fund.
Join Deb Fischer's team. Give today. FisherVictoryFund.com.
Does your business need quick, competitive financing for heavy machinery, trucks, or other equipment? Currency is here to help. Whether you're financing construction equipment, farm equipment, trucks, trailers, or any other big-ticket item, Currency will automatically find the best rates. Currency facilitates loans for up to $500,000 with repayment terms up to 72 months. It's fast, easy, and free to use. Visit GoCurrency.com and apply today.
Tune in to Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge.
Times change, your life changes, your risk tolerance changes. And so that's really where working with a professional comes into play, is to say, how do I pull this together and make it work as part of a plan? How do I make it so I can sit back, relax, and enjoy the music?
Saturdays at 8 a.m. on KLIN.
Discover the difference with Oak Electric, a local woman-owned business offering premium electrical service at competitive prices. With over 25 years of experience, their master electrician is one of Lincoln's top experts. Their small, dedicated team focuses on quality control and safety for your family or business. Experience the premium customer service you deserve. When life happens, call Oak Electric at 402-440-5969 because they always answer the phone. Oak Electric, where quality and safety come first.
The vehicles at Rent-A-Van are far more than four wheels that get you places. They're mobile planning rooms for your business team to prepare for that big presentation. They're also ultra comfortable and roomy enough to catch a nap on the way back. Rent-A-Van provides a moving studio for impromptu family sing-alongs. The vans are an assurance that your crew, family, team, and any group on an adventure get there in a reliable, comfortable van that has been through rigorous safety inspections. Your plans, our vans. RentAVanLincoln.com. Now open in Omaha.
You're listening to Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald. More of the show coming up on 1499.3 KLIN. KLIN weather brought to you by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Partly to mostly cloudy this evening with the temperature dropping into the mid-60s by midnight. After midnight, remaining partly to mostly cloudy with a slight chance of sprinkles. Low temperature in the low 50s. Saturday, partly to mostly cloudy and warm, high in the low 80s. From the 1011 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Brandon Rector.
Draining threes on the issues that truly matter to Nebraskans, with the occasional technical or two. This is Drive Time Nebraska with Doug Fitzgerald on 1499.3 KLIN.
Chris, thanks so much for your texting. We appreciate that. He says Youth for Christ is a huge asset to Lincoln, and I couldn't agree more. Coming up on Drive Time Nebraska on Monday, Congressman Mike Flood will be in. We'll have Talk and Text Tuesday. Wednesday, County Commissioner candidate David Russell will be joining us. And then on Thursday, District 21 legislative candidate Don Lippert. All right, right now we're joined by Senator Deb Fischer. Senator, welcome to Drive Time Nebraska. We appreciate you being here.
Always good to be here. Thanks, Doug.
Yep, good to hear your voice. I want to dig in, and you only have a few minutes here, but I really want to dig in because we've got our listeners have a lot of questions, and I want to give you an opportunity to be able to answer these. Your opponent, Dan Osborn, he's throwing around a lot of what appears to be a lot of exaggerated rhetoric. He calls himself an independent. I've done a lot of research on his past. To me, and this is my opinion as a host, he's a Democrat. Am I off base from that assessment?
I think you're right on point. My opponent is not being honest with Nebraskans. He is not a Democrat or not an independent. He is a Democrat. He's being funded by George Soros type billionaires who fund Kamala Harris. He's not really discussing the issues. You know, when I am out talking to our constituents and Nebraskans, I always focus on my record, and I want to talk about what I am doing for Nebraskans, what I want to do for Nebraskans. But unfortunately, the same can't be said about my opponent. He started running ads attacking me and lying about his record. And I believe that Nebraskans are seeing through that the more they get to see the truth about him. When he says things like our illegal immigrants should have Social Security benefits, they should have amnesty, they should have Social Security card, that he loves Bernie Sanders, that he wants to get rid of filibuster. I mean, things are coming out that he says behind closed doors, and he's not honest with Nebraskans about it. George Soros is not going to buy a Senate seat here in the state of Nebraska.
Well, in his ads, he said this, and I've heard this over and over and over again. He says that you have not held a town hall meeting in a long time. But I follow your social media. I constantly see you deeply involved, going door to door, business to business, on the ground, face to face with people. What's your response to that claim?
I think Nebraskans know that I am always out there. In fact, Pete Ricketts and I, since Pete's been in the Senate, we do teletown halls where we can reach like 8,000 people in one night as we're taking questions and discussing the issues together that we're working on. You're right. I am out there all the time. I do a lot of public events. I was just in North Platte at a groundbreaking for their airport terminal. I was in Blair at an opening of a road, and I can assure you I'm always the last one to leave those events because people come up to me, and that's where we have serious, important discussions with folks, walking up and down Main Street, doing a ribbon cutting for the Head Start program here in Lincoln. I was invited and did that. So I think the idea that he is out doing all this, but he has to be out. He needs to introduce himself to people, and he's really blown an opportunity, because when you're a candidate, when you travel the state, you should be talking about your vision. You should be talking about where you stand on the issues. And the feedback I get from Nebraskans is, who is this guy? He doesn't talk about anything. And a lot of people just say it's obvious when he first starts talking, he's a Democrat.
I want to ask you just one more question about this, and we'll move on to some of the things that you've been working hard on, especially in the Middle East. I've got some questions there. But the New York Post reported that Osborn said on a recorded donor call that Fischer has, quote, never had any competition, so her staffers and her campaign team are a bunch of Hitler Youth frat boys. What's that about?
Well, first of all, it's appalling that anybody would say that young people who are involved in a campaign and interested in our political process to reference them as being Hitler Youth. That is appalling. And then what's even worse, I think, is he came back when he got caught saying that. He came back and said, well, I was in the Navy and that's how we talk. I'm sorry, but my uncle was in the Navy in World War II. He fought Hitler. And he, first of all, would never have said anything like that. And secondly, he certainly would not blame the Navy and make some half-cocked excuse there like that. And to say I've never had an opponent, obviously he doesn't pay attention to politics in the state of Nebraska, because Bob Kerrey was my first opponent, a former governor and a former United States senator.
All right. Well, let's shift things. Let's shift things to the election. I know one of the concerns that I read that you had are that reports of non-citizens registering to vote and voting in federal elections. How big of a concern should we be in regards to who is allowed to vote? Are we seeing this happen?
Well, we need to make sure that only citizens vote in this country. I mean, that's the law. We need to be sure of that. And elections are conducted at the state level. In fact, I just heard on the news in Virginia, Governor Youngkin in Virginia had removed a number of people who were not qualified to vote in the state of Virginia, illegal immigrants. And the Department of Justice, Joe Biden's Department of Justice now, they're saying that he could not do that, because it was within 90 days of the election. The governor, Youngkin, he's going to challenge that. I hope he does. But I would think anytime you find an illegal immigrant or someone who is not a United States citizen on the voter rolls, they should be removed. That's how you make sure we have legal and proper elections in this country.
Well, let's move on to the Middle East. I know things are heating up there with Israel, Hezbollah, Iran. You've served a long time on the Senate Armed Forces Committee for a while now, so you've got a lot of experience, which I think this is very important for people to understand, especially as the world seems to be getting more and more unstable. It's important to have people that know what's going on. What's your assessment right now where things stand in the Middle East?
Well, we're in a dangerous world, across the board. We live in a very dangerous world, whether it's in the Middle East, what we see with Russia in Europe and the aggression there, and especially in China, the advancements that they have made with their military and with their nuclear capabilities as well. In the Middle East specifically, we see continued interference, continued attacks that are really done by Iran on Israel. They have about 7 different terrorist groups that they finance, that they provide weaponry to. 3 of those have recently attacked Israel. Obviously, Hamas a year ago came in, murdered 1,200 individuals, took hundreds captive, and that includes Americans. Americans were killed. Americans are still being held hostage. We have Hezbollah in the north of Israel. Israel now is trying to push them further north into Lebanon so that the citizens of Israel can go back to their homes in the northern part of Israel. There's about 80 to 100,000 people who have been displaced because it's not safe for them to be along that border with Lebanon. So Israel is pushing into Lebanon. They have done, obviously, the phones blowing up, or the pagers blowing up with the Hezbollah bad actors. They've done strategic strikes at the leadership of Hezbollah, and they should. They need to protect their country, and they need to protect their citizens. The Houthis in Yemen have also sent drones and rockets in, and now we've seen, and Israel responded to that. And now we see Iran that has sent hundreds of rockets into Israel. The Israelis have a right to defend themselves, and they have a right to answer when they are attacked. I think the United States should have stepped up earlier and not held back on some of the munitions that Israel wanted a year ago, and they could have taken care of some of these terrorists earlier, and they haven't been able to. So now they have made it plain that they will take care of them now.
Along that lines, you being on the Senate Armed Forces Committee, and Chris had texted this in, how important is it to have seniority and experience as the world seems to be like spiraling at this point?
Well, in the Senate, seniority matters. That's how you get your committee assignments. It's how you are able to have more influence on committees. Right now, I'm second in seniority on the Armed Services Committee. That's important for the state of Nebraska. I'm also next in line in second in seniority on the Commerce Committee. That's huge for the state of Nebraska, because as senior members on a committee, and especially as chairman of one of these committees, the possibility is there for a Nebraskan to hold that. We can focus then on issues that directly affect the citizens of Nebraska. Of course, we always must look at what our job is for the country as a whole. But there are certain issues out there that have a direct impact on the people of Nebraska. And it's not necessarily just on those committees that I serve on, but I'm able to work across the aisle better. I am able to have influence with people in my own party because of that seniority, because I've had time to develop relationships. And so to be able to accomplish things for Nebraska, you learn very quickly when you get to the Senate that it's the relationships you build and how those relationships grow over time, and that you're able to accomplish more for the people of your state.
Well, Senator, thank you so much for jumping on. It goes by way too fast. Love to be able to have you back down the road. So always feel free to reach out. And again, just thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you. I always enjoy visiting with you. And yeah, we'll be back. I like talking policy.
All right.
We'll be back.
That sounds good. All right. Senator Deb Fischer joining us. Her website, if you want more information, debfornebraska.com, debfornebraska.com. Well, coming up on Drive Time Nebraska next week, Congressman Mike Flood, Talk and Text Tuesday, County Commissioner candidate David Russell on Wednesday. Thursday, District 21 legislative candidate Don Lippert. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. If you want to listen to the podcast of this show, go to klin.com. Remember, there's only 246,600 seconds left until we see each other again, my friends. I want you to seize everyone. Husker volleyball coverage starts at 6:30 tonight. Have a great weekend, and go Big Red.
From from the Momo Pizzeria and Ristorante Studios, we are the voice of Lincoln. KLIN Lincoln. KBBK HD3 Lincoln. K257GN Lincoln is 1499.3 KLIN.